Ladies and gentlemen, joining the Compas next. We love him. He is the best. He said, hey, I love jumping on with the Compas. Tony Khan, AEW and Jaguars president. Tony, thank you so much for yet again being with the Compas.
It's great to see you both. Thanks for having me on, as always.
Yeah, Tony, last time you were here, we talked about, hey, are you coming to LA? Are you coming out of the West Coast? And now it's like a whole bunch of shows you already had, and you got more coming up. Can you tell about these West Coast shows that you had and then coming up?
Yeah, tremendous shows coming up. We have March 5th, one of the biggest pay-per-view shows in AEW history, and I think it could be the best wrestling pay-per-view of 2023. Coming up less than a month away now, March 5th at the Chase Center in San Francisco. It's going to be awesome. AEW Revolution, the biggest main event in AEW history, one of the greatest values in pay-per-view history. MJF defending the AEW World Championship, the most prized championship in all of pro wrestling, against the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, in a 60-minute Iron Man match. You've got MJF, the most hated man in wrestling, going 60 minutes with the greatest technical wrestler in the world, probably the greatest technical wrestler ever, and Bryan Danielson, who's not just a technical wrestler, he's got so much fire. That's what they call him, the American Dragon. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. MJF is not one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and I'm so excited for the match. I think it's going to be great. March 5th in San Francisco at the Chase Center, and also in Los Angeles, I have to say, a big event coming up also for Ring of Honor. I never thought I'd be doing a show WrestleMania weekend, but when I bought Ring of Honor, unfortunately, that's one of the things I signed up for. Supercard of Honor is one of the greatest events, and they have traditionally done it there. So I'm bringing it to the Galen Center March 31st. So that'll also be awesome. Coming in and having those big shows on the West Coast. And we've had some great shows. We were at the Forum just earlier a few weeks ago, and that was an amazing show. Both times we've done the Forum, the crowd has been amazing, and I think we've got a great relationship and a great thing there. But I'm excited to do the Galen Center too. Hopefully see you both of you guys at the Chase Center and the Galen Center.
Gilbert, tell them who amazed you when you were out there in LA.
Tony, we try to be prepared. I'm like, okay, Fernando, you get the next question, but I got too excited with MJF. Maybe you not so much, but I was out there at the Forum when he just dropped that epic pipe bomb or whatever you want to call it promo, and maybe you had no clue that was coming, but I was like, okay, this guy, I'm gonna run through a brick wall for MJF. I'm a fan. I loved it at the Forum. I was there. I think I dropped my beer at one point because it went from like slow and then, okay, what are you saying? I'm interested. And then like screaming. I'm like, at that point, okay, I'm hooked on AEW MJF. But what did you think about that moment?
I'm surprised that's your reaction, knowing the positive interactions we've always had. I'm surprised that was how you felt in that situation, Gilbert. But so no, I was quite taken aback. It was not. That being said, MJF's a great wrestler, and it's great having him in AEW, and he is the world champion. But on March 5th, I'm very much looking forward to seeing him go toe-to-toe for 60 minutes with the greatest wrestler in the world, Bryan Danielson. It's going to be a great match at Revolution. March 5th on pay-per-view. And we have great shows coming up. We're on TNT tonight, Friday Night Rampage. We have a huge lineup on tonight's show. We have some of the biggest names in AEW wrestling on Friday Night Rampage all in 1 hour, when you've got Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta and Claudio, the whole Blackpool Combat Club out in action, led by Jon Moxley. And you've got, oh man, so much. Ruby Soho in action, Jungle Boy in action, and Orange Cassidy defending the championship all tonight on Friday Night Rampage. That's pretty cool on TNT, 10 o'clock tonight. But also, when you look at Wednesday Night Dynamite next week, we've been doing great shows. Very excited. We'll have another great crowd. We're coming to Laredo. Very cool to be down in those markets. We've had great experience with the fans down in Laredo. We were in El Paso last week, so doing some different markets in Texas, which has been excellent. And I can't wait to get back out on the West Coast with you guys.
Tony, I gotta ask. I mean, the biggest free agency is coming up of 2024. We keep on hearing about it. He keeps on mentioning about it. Are you ready for that moment when a certain individual becomes a free agent and says it's the biggest free agency in the history of pro wrestling?
Well, I think that would be certainly, we'll see what happens between now and then. But that's all I would say is there's a lot of time between now and 2024. 2023 just started, And I'm really excited because we're off to the best start we've ever had to start a year. And I really believe going into Revolution, the company's so hot. The shows have been so strong. Every show in 2023 has been strong. We started on the West Coast. We Seattle, Portland, LA, Fresno, Lexington, Kentucky, and then with Dayton, Ohio, and now we've been in Texas this week for El Paso, Wednesday Night Dynamite on TBS, and then tonight, Friday Night Rampage on TNT, and then we're in Laredo next week. But 2023 is just getting going, so it's a long way away.
See, Fernando, that's why he's the boss. He's not thinking about next year. He's talking about this year. So many events. Might as well ask him about Trevor Lawrence in the quarterback contract, because
we already talked about the one that's on the left side. Now let's talk about the right side. Both are hot. AEW's hot. The Jaguars, great season. Doug Pederson, what did he bring to your guys' team this year? The fight that your team showed was incredible this whole season.
Unbelievably strong. And Doug Pederson transformed the Jaguars organization. Doug Pederson's one of the greatest leaders in football, because Doug Pederson, I truly believe, is one of the best minds in pro football, and he's also one of the best people in pro football, and he motivates people. And you want to play for Doug Pederson, not just because he's a brilliant football coach, a great game manager. He absolutely, in terms of game management decisions and play calling, every aspect of football, he's a master at it, but he's also a great person, and people want to win for Doug Pederson and work hard for him. And it's a real pleasure working with Doug Pederson. I have so many great things to say about him and all the players in the Jaguars organization. We have a lot of young players that had been there before, and they were young, and really, I think they got so much from Doug, but also for the first-year players and free agents, everybody coming in to have a lead come and play for. It helps. And Doug built a great staff and a great team. Trent Baalke's done a great job with the Jaguars in player personnel. So when you have a great coach and a great GM and a great group of players with Trevor Lawrence leading the offense and a great group of players around him, and the defense and special teams really rallied, and all the great comeback wins we had, particularly at home. Like you said, this season, the fight the team showed to come back. That's why I believed, I think the team never stopped believing when you're down against the Titans with the AFC South Championship on the line, and then even down against the Chargers in the wild card playoff with a chance to go to the divisional round on the line. It was so amazing how the team.
Evan Ingram carried you off the field.
Yeah, I think Zay Jones, maybe. Zay Jones did carry me off the field. Evan Ingram was great, too. That was amazing. It was a great moment. Zay Jones is a great person, and Evan Ingram's a great guy, too, and really, we have a great group of players. I care so much about them. I mean, there's players that have been with the Jaguars that I found and scouted and brought into the league. Like, I have a great relationship with Trey Herndon. Trey Herndon is a player I found and called up after the draft and signed. And he came in with not a big guarantee, a very small guarantee as undrafted free agent, and proved himself and worked hard and made plays and earned his place with the Jaguars. And a lot of people that have played with the Jaguars over the years, and I'm proud most of all of the way they fought. And certainly the Chargers game was the biggest comeback of all on the biggest stage.
Tony, if you want, you can drop a heel promo saying all the doubters of the Jaguars and free agents say, hey, spending too much money on the wrong players, and you guys make the playoffs. Do you want to drop a heel promo right now?
Well, it doesn't have to be a heel promo. I could just say.
I prefer those. You can tell.
It's that's what you like. Okay, I'm getting the sense, Gilbert. Now that we're
Fernando's brother likes to call me Gilberto. So okay.
Very good. Well, that being said, I will say that we have a great chance to go out and continue to build on what we've already done. Certainly, I do think, to your point, it's a great point, Gilbert. There were people critical of things in free agency. I think Christian Kirk made huge contributions to the Jaguars, and people questioned it. And Trent Baalke and Doug Pederson made really great decisions. And I'm a football statistician. I work in analytics. People may not know that, and some people only know me for wrestling. And if you're a real hardcore fan of football, you may have seen me out there. I've been working now. This is my 12th season in the NFL and using stats and analytics, and I've never had more better buy-in from the coach like Doug Pederson and the GM like Trent Baalke. And I think it goes back to their experiences. Doug, at the Eagles, you saw game management, fourth downs, 2-point conversions, and play calling. Doug's one of the most brilliant people, and he had great people around him at the Eagles, and some of those people are with us now, and I love working with them and what I do every day, which is football analytics, and that's what I was doing before I became a wrestling promoter. Although I've been a wrestling fan almost my entire life, over 30 years, since I was a small kid. And really, with Trent Baalke, he was the GM of the 49ers. They had a great analytics group, and Trent had great success. And the three of us, I love working as a group. And I think the football leadership those guys bring has changed the organization. And so I would also say, I think the hiring process on both of them was, people said things, and I don't think they got a fair chance. People said things about Trent that I did not think were fair and I didn't agree with. And it almost got personal at times, and it's not. He's a good person. I think he's a misunderstood person. I've worked with him. I've known him for over 10 years, and I've worked closely with him for a few, and I know him really well. And I think he was very misunderstood. And some of the stuff people said about Trent was just mean. And then when it comes to Doug, Doug was the very first coach we interviewed in what was a long process, and people criticized the process, but I think it was a great process because we went out and talked to everybody, and we went out and then we said we liked the first person we talked to. Then we talked to him again, and it was a great meeting. He came to our home in Florida twice, and it was they were far apart. There was several weeks and a lot of interviews and a very thorough process, and my dad wanted to make sure we all got it right. So my dad and Trent and I traveled the globe, and I was in between AEW shows, and I was traveling with them to games, and I did some Zooms. I did a Zoom in my trailer once, but I gave it my complete attention. And my dad and Trent gave it their complete attention. I did live interviews all over the country, and I love what we do with the Jaguars, and I love what we do with AEW both. And, I know that a lot of people here at the Super Bowl like talking about both football and wrestling. So it's great for us, and it's great opportunity for me to promote the shows we do every Wednesday on TBS, and like tonight on TNT every Friday night in the big lineups.
He's a man of many talents. Tony Khan, football, AEW, knows it all. Quick question, real quick. Who wins this weekend?
I don't want to speculate on that.
Okay.
We've played both the teams. They're both tremendous teams. And, I think it's a great Super Bowl for the fans.
We appreciate Tony Khan stopping by, AEW and Jaguars president. He has both of them on the up. They're both on fire. Thank you so much, Tony. You're a compa, so we appreciate you jumping on with us.
Thanks. It's great to see you.
Thank you.